Hey, welcome to the Buck Brief. Ryan Girdusky is with us now once again. He's the founder of the 1776 Project PAC and the author of the National Populist Newsletter. Ryan, I sit here and I cannot believe that Biden is actually gone. You and I thought that he would make it to the very end, and it was close. I mean, it was close. He kept coming, and sure enough, they managed to push him out. Let's start with that. How do they do this?
So Biden's closest advisors from people that I've spoken to went to him and showed him the internals. And they said, not only is there no path for you to win, but you are actually going to cost Democrats states like Virginia, Maine, New Hampshire, Minnesota, and New Mexico. And you're actually neck and neck in New Jersey and Colorado. So down ballot, you're going to wipe the party out, and you're going to lose in one of the biggest political landslides for Democrats since 1988.
So that's pretty tough. Now, that's not good, right? That's not a good situation. Yeah. Can you just try to explain this to me, though, for a second? Did people really not know that he had dementia? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, the voters, I know the media just lies and they pretend, but if the polling shows this, it must be at some level that the media was able to hide from them the extent of his dementia, right? Because otherwise, why would all of a sudden, he wasn't down those kinds of numbers 2-3 months ago?
Well, he was down for a while, and I think that the Democrats just hoped that it wouldn't matter, that the debate wouldn't have gone as bad as it did, and that they could keep it going for long enough by having a basement campaign. And that debate was the nail in the coffin, and it was over after that.
But then, there were bad numbers for him right afterwards, and he said no. I mean, he sent out. Explain this to me. He had the Biden campaign co-chair on the Sunday CBS show, right? Whatever that thing is, saying that Biden is in and he's the guy. And then a couple of hours later, Biden puts out a tweet saying, "I'm out."
They agreed to a CNN debate the day before. They put Jill in a bunch of new fundraisers. I had heard from someone in the admin who I'm friendly with that Biden was quitting, that she had gotten the word that Biden was quitting. And that was earlier in the week. And I was like, well, whatever. And then there was that Newsmax breaking news story that Biden was quitting on Sunday. And I kind of didn't believe it because they had these new fundraisers. They had Kamala and Bill Clinton calling donors. They had the CNN debate. And apparently last minute, he just pulled the trigger and said, no, I can't win. My close advisors, the ones who are yes men, say I can't win, so I have to get out. And now he's a hero. Now he's a national hero. Now that's what the media is saying is like, look how brave he is after they did everything to kneecap him possible, that he is like this extraordinary leader.
Well, my favorite thing is he put the country over himself. Well, for the last month, he was apparently putting himself over the country. And then they finally shoved him out of a moving car so that he wouldn't be the nominee anymore.
Yeah, they did. I mean, they did everything they possibly could to make his life miserable, and now he's a hero for doing the hard job. But listen, credit to Nancy Pelosi. That woman is 84 years old, and she is probably the most the biggest political beast there is. There's no one even close to how her ability, especially on the right.
Why do you think Obama hasn't endorsed Kamala yet? There have been all these Kamala endorsements out there from everybody. Gretchen Whitmer has said that she endorses Kamala and she won't take the VP role. What's going on with that?
Because Obama's supposed to be bigger than politics, and he's like Oprah. He's like a deity. So they wait and they hold out for it. But I mean, it's Kamala. There's not going to be a real contested convention. This dream of Michelle Obama coming in at the last moment or something like that is not real. It's Kamala, and they hope that Kamala will improve against Biden, not to win, but to help the bleeding down ballot, which is so severe that Democrats were losing in very important states.
Well, let's get into some of the numbers on this because I find this fascinating. But first up, from our sponsor, Birch Gold, if you had $1 million in 2009, today it would be worth less than $700,000. That's the effect that out-of-control government spending has on your hard-earned dollars, and it's why central banks and savvy investors are buying gold. For thousands of years, gold has withstood war, famine, and economic downturns. It's been a stalwart hedge against inflation and hyperinflation. Company that I trust to help you diversify into gold is Birch Gold Group. For over 20 years, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And the best part, it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. With an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, you can trust Birch Gold, too. To learn more, text the word BUCK to 989898. Get a free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Again, text BUCK to the number 989898 to protect your hard-earned savings today. To me, here's where we are, because I almost frame it in a different way. People say, will Trump win? And the way that I approach this is, if Trump can't beat Kamala Harris, what is the point of the GOP? You know what I mean? If Kamala Harris can defeat a nominee who has already been president, who got shot in the ear and looked like a badass right afterwards, who vanquished Joe Biden before a single vote was cast in this election, and who has the most GOP unity and enthusiasm I think I've ever seen. Like, what? Like, help me work through this. Do they really think that Kamala Harris can defeat Donald Trump in a general election?
I don't know any Democrat who thinks that. There's a lot of hope that she can manage to create some kind of avenue or lane for herself, but it's very small. Trump still probably has about the same, maybe a little, maybe better, maybe worse polling against Kamala than he does against Biden. The instant polls, I wouldn't trust most of them. We're going to have to wait a few weeks for the real polling to come out. But no, I mean, Trump definitely has the overall advantage. They're trying to now say that he's too old to be president. That's the new Democratic line, if you'll see that in the media today. But the goal is to sit there and say, hey, we could save Bob Casey in Pennsylvania. We could keep the Michigan Senate seat. We could save, maybe Sherrod Brown in Ohio. We could save Tammy Brown in Wisconsin. It's about saving and maintaining the endangered seats, because under Biden, Tammy Baldwin was neck and neck. She wouldn't even be seen with him anymore in Wisconsin. She used to win that state by 20 points. So you have a lot of endangered Democrats really worrying that they were going to have a horrendous down ballot effect that would cost them, more than just 2 or 3 Senate seats, but they were looking at 6 or 7.
So no matter what they say publicly now, of course, they'll lie about all this stuff. But the notion that Kamala Harris, it seems to me like what you're telling me is it's not that Kamala Harris is better head-to-head against Trump. It's that Kamala Harris won't cause other Democrats across the board to get wiped out to the same degree. Is that pretty much the strategy?
Yeah, I mean, Democrat internals were looking at 6 to 7 Senate seats being really endangered or losing, and 30 to 40 House seats being endangered or losing. And that's such a loss where you can't fix that in one election cycle. You can't just come back and have another election cycle and be like, oh, look, we're back to where we were. You could do it with 1 or 2 or 3 Senate seats and a dozen House seats, but you can't do it with 30 to 40 losses and 6 or 7 in the Senate. And they didn't want to give Trump this overwhelming majority.
I mean, it's in a sense, though, I mean, they're kind of, I know they're not formally conceding, they're not conceding the presidential election, but this is a desperation move. This is not a savior move. This is like throwing the tourniquet around the bloody leg. This is not, we're going to go win the 100-meter dash now, right? I mean, it's just, otherwise it makes no sense.
It's never happened before. This has never happened in history. We're this far along in a presidential election and a major party nominee has had to drop out. The only 2 times that a party nominee had to drop out while being the city president was Harry Truman in 1948, I think. 52. 52 against Eisenhower. He dropped out, but that was way earlier. And in 68 against Nixon. In 68, Lyndon Johnson dropped out right before New Hampshire because he was going to lose New Hampshire. So you're talking, but that was 6-7 months earlier than what we're talking about now. We're at the very, very tail end. We are, several weeks before convention, and it's never happened before. I can't overstate how historical of an event this is.
All right, I want to ask you this, and we'll come back to this in a second. But just think this one over, Ryan. They've already now had the entire Democrat Party machinery essentially endorse Kamala, right? Everybody who's got a big name, they've already said it's Kamala. They've raised $50 million for Kamala. Is there a realistic chance that they go into a convention and somebody else emerges out of this? But before you answer that, Porter Stansbury is a good friend of mine and a business partner of many years, and he did something really interesting. He decided to cut his salary to $1 a year, and he's doing this to make a point. Porter says there's a better way to save and get paid. A new form of money in America is what he calls it. Makes some people wildly rich, but no, it's not gold or Bitcoin. Porter says what's interesting is that while every American is legally entitled to use the secret currency, few know much about it. Now, Porter's hoping to change that. He says the way our government is destroying the U.S. dollar, it's critical to understand how America's new money works. He believes it's the most critical way to protect and grow wealth in the years to come. I strongly recommend you check out Porter's latest detailed presentation online at secretcurrency2024.com. He details how to protect and grow your wealth in the years to come using America's new money. I doubt you'll see this idea or opportunity discussed anywhere else. Take a few minutes to check out Porter's fascinating insights. Go to secretcurrency2024.com. That's secretcurrency2024.com. So, I mean, to me, the real question I think can be answered this way, Ryan. Are they in a month? Are we going to be hearing Nancy Pelosi actually endorses somebody else? It's like they endorsed Biden implicitly, and now they've endorsed Kamala, but then they're going to endorse somebody else in three people in a summer? I mean, is that feasible?
That would be hilarious. But no, I mean, the only person whose name who told his delegates not to endorse Kamala is the governor of Illinois, Pritzker. Aside from Pritzker, I've not heard anyone else saying hold off. Now, doesn't that mean Pritzker's going to run? I don't know. Pritzker could run. He's worth several $1 billion. He's the heir to the Marist Hotel family, I think it is. Marriott. Is it the Marriott Hotel family? Yeah. So he could make a run for it if he wanted to because he has all the money in the world. But besides him, I haven't heard of anybody else's name being floated even remotely. I think this is more of a coronation, and it's just a matter of who does she pick as VP.
Okay, let's get into that. Who does she want, and who will she get?
Oh, I think she probably wants Josh Shapiro. I think that would be really helpful to her in a very, very tight state in the pivotal swing state right now in Pennsylvania. It's amazing how our swing state would change from Florida to Pennsylvania, but Pennsylvania being the pivotal swing state, I think that she would love Josh Shapiro. But I think that I know Andy Beshear has definitely made a point that he would like it. Roy Cooper, the governor of North Carolina, had a call with her yesterday, and I know Mark Kelly is seriously being considered. Mark Kelly would probably be the best of the three, also because his wife also survived an assassination attempt, and he could speak to that.
And so those are all the top contenders. Is there? So you don't think like all the talk about Whitmer and Newsom, is that effectively over now?
Here's the thing. No one really wants the job unless you don't think you have a huge political future. Because let's say there's this outside chance and Kamala wins it, right? She shocks us all on election night and she pulls out a victory. You could have an accidental vice president, much in the same way that Mike Pence was not going to win re-election in Indiana and took the ticket with Trump because he had no other political future. So Mark Kelly is never going to be anything besides a senator, which is fine, but he won't be something bigger. Neither will Andy Beshear being a Democrat in Kentucky or Roy Cooper being a Democrat in North Carolina. Their futures are very limited. So the chances of them sitting there and being on a national ticket, this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance. If you're Josh Shapiro, if you're Gretchen Whitmer, if you're Gavin Newsom, if you're Jamie Pritzker, you could run in 2028 and have a really serious chance at winning the presidency in an open seat in a better year for you and beating the other Democrats in the primary. Why would you attach yourself to a sinking ship when you have a big prospective chance, just 4 years away?
Who do you think the VP ends up being on a Kamala ticket? If you had to pick.
I would probably guess Mark Kelly right now. It's probably Kelly or Beshear, but I would say Kelly as if I had to make a guess. I don't think Shapiro wants it. I don't think Cooper is really being serious.
If I were Josh Shapiro's campaign or not, his advisors, I'd say don't run in 28. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Because I don't care who you are. Being on a losing vice president, being on a losing ticket as the vice president, that's not a good look. Losing is never a good look.
Yeah.
So, especially,
well, also CNN today was like, well, a big problem is that he's Jewish. So did you see that today?
No.
Oh no, CNN commentators were like, well, the problem with Josh Shapiro is he's Jewish. So that might upset the Democratic base even more because he's an observant Jew. He's an Orthodox Jew. They said it out loud. I mean, I'm not saying it, but that probably is floating in some Democrats' minds is how much more do you want to piss off progressives who are anti-Israel by putting an Orthodox Jew on the ticket who's very supportive of Israel.
Very interesting. All right, Ryan Girdusky, everybody, go subscribe to the National Populist Newsletter on Substack. Ryan, we didn't get this Biden thing right, but we're going to get the next big prediction right. So
we got VP right, though.
That's what. Thank you. That's you and I have been saying. I agree with you, and we've been saying publicly J.D. Vance, and it was J.D. Vance, and that's the Biden thing's a binary. He is or he isn't, right? It wasn't the J.D. Vance at one point. J.D. Vance was like 8th or 10th in the betting markets. There was like a dozen options out there for VP. So that's right. Thank you, Ryan, for reminding me. We nailed that one. For everyone watching, we nailed that one.
We did.
All right. Thank you, Ryan Girdusky. Good to see you, my friend.
You too.